found favor in the sight of the prince. Her stepmother and stepsister got jealous of this. They deceived her and made her follow them into the forest, where they pushed her into the pit. However, a beast saved her. In a small village lived two stepsisters. The first, who was the biological daughter of the lady of the house. She was as wicked as her mother. Her name was Maria, and she had everything she could wish for. Everything she wanted, her mother gave to her. Beauty, grace, and the love. She had it. But beneath her looks and sweet smile, Maria had the heart full of envy and malice, especially towards her stepsister, whom she could never stand. Her stepsister, named Clara, was a gentle soul who wore kindness as a sleeve, despite being constantly mistreated at home. Her stepmother, a woman as cruel as a jaguar, made it clear every single day that she was not wanted. She didn't like her at all, and she wanted her gone. She used Clara like a servant in the house, always telling her to do the hardest of chores, while her own daughter Maria, the cherished daughter, sat back and watched. It was no surprise that Clara spent most of her days outside, working day and night, seeking solace in the fresh air, away from the harsh words and constant trouble of her stepmother. The hatred from Maria to Clara grew each day. For Clara, she never seemed to mind the mistreatment. She never retaliated. She was always accepting her fate with silent patience, while Maria could not stand her sister's kindness and the fact that Clara had her own quiet strength. The cruel stepmother often took advantage of her kindness. She would send Clara on errands to fetch water from the stream. She made her do tedious work just to make her life harder purposely. Maria, meanwhile, would enjoy lavish meals. She would stay with her mother and engage in sweet talks, eating without caring about her stepsister. One day, something extraordinary happened that changed the lives of both sisters. Word spread throughout the village that the prince would be walking through their part of town that very day. It was a grand occasion, and everyone in the village were excited that the prince, who was well known for his beauty and kindness, would be roaming their part of the village. The villagers were excited, but here is the thing. They must not be seen outside when the prince is walking by, but they can peep through their window to see how handsome he looks. The rule was clear. Anyone who dared to step outside would be punished. However, Clara's stepmother, who had grown tired of seeing her stepdaughter constantly being kind and doing the right thing, had a cruel plan. She knew Maria was desperate to meet the prince and had been dreaming of marrying him. And of course, no one else is as beautiful as Maria except for her sister Clara. Clara was more beautiful than her. They were the most beautiful ladies in the village, and if the prince is to choose a beautiful bride, he would go for either one of them. So she wanted to end Clara. She called her and told her to go outside on the day that the prince will be having his royal walk. Clara knew it is forbidden to go outside, and she told her stepmother, "Please, mother, I do not want to go as I might get punished for it." But her stepmother didn't listen to her. She made her go outside and warned her that if she goes against her, she will be punished greatly for it. She sent Clara outside to fetch water, knowing fully well that she will definitely see the prince if she passed through that route. Clara, feeling the sting of her stepmother's harsh words, hesitated. She knew the consequences of disobeying, but she also knew something was not right. "But mother, it is forbidden," she said. Clara tried to argue, but her mother didn't listen to her. With a heavy heart, she reluctantly stepped out, not knowing what would happen to her. As she walked, she was filled with dread. This was it. This was the moment she knew would change everything. The prince, handsome, appeared before her as she walked through the path. His eyes locked onto hers and he stopped and she froze. She was a bit scared, thinking she would be punished for going against the rule everybody knows about. However, the prince was a very kind one. And he said to her, "Why are you outside, my lady?" His voice filled with curiosity. "Do you not know the rules?" he asked. Clara swallowed hard but stood her ground. "I did not mean to disobey," she said softly, "but my mother told me to go outside." The prince studied her for a moment. He was impressed by her honesty. He then stepped closer, his eyes roaming over her features. He reached out, offering his hand, but Clara, wise enough, she took a step back. "I cannot," she said, her heart racing. "It is wrong to do such things. I am not like others." The prince, surprised and confused, pressed her once more. "Why do you refuse me, beautiful one?" Clara's voice was firm, and she said, "I cannot give myself away for wealth or power." She knows where the prince was heading at, as she has heard so many things about how the prince goes after different leaders in the village, and she kindly refused him. The prince watched her with a mix of admiration and frustration. He tried to charm her, but Clara, feeling the weight of her conscience, could not bring herself to give in. She turned and ran home, leaving the prince behind, bewildered but respectful. When she got home and she explained everything that happened to her stepmother was boiling in anger. She was so angry that no punishment was given to Clara for going out during the forbidden hour. She was glad that Clara turned the prince down. So she started planning on sending her daughter Maria out. Trusting that Maria won't turn the prince down, she is going to give in to his advances and so they can get married. So she thought to herself. Maria's mother went to her and said to her, "Now is your chance. Go outside and do whatever it takes to win the prince's heart. Go now before it is too late," she said to her daughter. Maria was so glad. She ran outside without hesitation. She smiled slyly as she approached the prince. She was determined that she would not let this opportunity slip through her fingers. She agreed to everything the prince asked of her, believing that she would win his heart and get married to him. And that was how the prince wed Maria for free. For the prince, he enjoyed accompanying, and that was just it. But he could not stop thinking about Clara, the lady who had refused him with such grace and strength. Even as Maria clung to him, trying to win his affection, the prince's heart remained with Clara, the girl who had denied him. And when Maria got home, she told her mother of how the prince was uninterested in her after he got what he wanted. She told her mother of how the prince was asking for a particular girl that came out before her. And her mother was so frustrated and furious. Together, they came up with a plan. They would take Maria to the forest and lie that they are looking for a very rare plant. And so they started the journey. When they ventured deep into the forest, the crow mother's true intentions became clear. She suddenly pushed Maria into a very deep pit, leaving her there to die just because she wants her daughter to get married to the prince. And she said, "Now I have gotten rid of you forever," leaving Clara all alone inside the pit. And then Clara realized what they just did. She kept crying and praying for help, crying and hoping that someone will come and save her. Her prayer was answered. A creature unlike anything she has ever seen emerged from the shadows. It was a beast, large and terrifying. Clara froze in fear, but the beast simply stepped forward and gently helped her out of the pit. The beast had seen everything that happened, and he knew better than to send her back home. The beast then took Clara to his house with him. They started living together in the forest, and as the days passed, Clara grew fond of the beast. Unlike when she just met him, she used to be so scared and terrified by how it looked. The beast cared for her and protected her, and they started bonding. They became friends from there. They were cooking together, they were playing and gisting. Clara didn't know that the beast has fallen in love with her just the way she has fallen in love with him. And one day, she kissed him, and something extraordinary happened. Something that has never happened before. The beast transformed before her eyes into a very handsome prince. The transformation was magical, and Clara gasped in shock. The man was shocked to see himself transformed. He has been a beast all his life, and he knew that he has to tell Clara the whole truth. And he told her that it was caused by a wicked witch, one who was envious of his father's throne. And because of his appearance, he was thrown into the forest, and a house was built for him there. He told Clara that he is the first son of the king of the land. Clara was so shocked. With his curse broken, the prince and Clara returned to the village, where everyone was wondering who the very handsome man is. The villagers saw that he had a certain resemblance to the royal family, but they were not sure and they didn't want to jump into conclusion. However, Clara and the prince, whose name is Austin, together went to the palace. And when they presented themselves to the king of the village, the king was shocked and he embraced his son in tears. He didn't believe that the curse could be broken. He thanked Clara for loving his son genuinely and breaking his curse. The entire villagers heard of what Clara did, and they praised her for what she did. However, the prince that Clara met during the Forbidden Hour was so jealous that his brother was back. He is supposed to be the one to be the king, but now his elder brother is back, and there was nothing he could do. And when Maria and her mother heard of the return of Clara, they couldn't believe their ears. They were confused because they know that if Clara should expose them, they will be in big trouble for pushing her into the pit and running away. And so they started making their plans, and they concluded that they would go to the palace and ask Clara for forgiveness. And when they went to the palace, Clara didn't even behave like they did her wrong. She embraced them, she treated them to a very nice meal, and even gifted them. However, they were still jealous of her. And so one day, they invited Clara over to her old house, planning on poisoning her so Maria can have a husband all to herself. But luckily, when Clara got there, she was already full, and she told them that she doesn't want to eat. The stepmother got super angry and tried to quiet her. Clara couldn't believe it. Even after she gave them one more chance, they tried to end her. She didn't take it lightly with them this time. She struggled and she went home and she told her husband, the prince, about everything they did to her. Austin was so angry because of what they did to his bride. He sent the palace guard to bring them to the palace immediately, and they were punished greatly for what they did. They were banished because they can't be trusted. Their hearts was filled with evil and wickedness. They were banished deep into the forest, and Clara lived with her husband and newly found family happily ever after. The end. Thank you so much for watching this story, besties. Please do not forget to like this video, share to your friends to also come and learn one or two from it. Please do not forget to subscribe to this page for more stories like this. Please don't forget to tap on the notification bell so every time I post a new video, you get to know. Thank you so much, and see you guys on the next story.